So today I'm hoping that this is going to be a short shir. We're going to finish the first parak in Shar Tanta. We've gone through a lot of things in Shar Tanta. We got the idea of what Tanta stands for and how it parallels Yud Kei Vav Kei. We also saw how it is that Yud Kei Vav Kei could be expanded into what we call Asmab, Av, Sag, Ma, Ben. These ideas are going to be used again and again and again. They're very deep ideas, but we're seeing them here at the beginning of creation. So we're starting a foundation that we can't see where we're going. It's like we're at the foot of a giant, or the top of the head of a giant, if you like that. If that's a better metaphor. And we can't really see what the giant looks like. It's too big. But we can learn language that will help us to understand something that is so profound as the light that the Eibishter is sending our way. Now, according to my calculations, we should be on page Tes Zayin, page number 16. At the bottom of the page, which is Siman Kaf Gimel. So let's go back in the Rav to do number, and this is really going to take us about to the end. Now, I set out a little helpful drawing. This drawing is going to be important for us to try to understand how it is that olamos or spheros overlap one to the other. Actually, how they work. The beginning of our understanding of how Asmab works. So let's start with number 22 at the top of the page. Is Vihine Elu ha'oros heim bebechinas tamim shal shem sag. So sag is a name, and sab, as we said before, also has a tanta that's associated with it. So there are the tamim would be the sag, the upper part of the sag. Osim shehem lamala ala osia. So there would be tamim, which we have, of course, we understand the reading of the Torah. We have tamim. We have all of these things, actually. We have tamim. We have nekudos, although they're not written in the Torah, but they are sung. The sounds that they represent do come out. We have tagim on top of the osios, and of course we have the osios themselves. So these are all things that we have. So he goes on to say that these are the tamim of sag are on top of the letters. So this is his point. At the time that we have these lights, we have the lights coming down from the right ear, the light coming down from the left ear. We're talking about different places, lights coming out of the nose, lights coming out of the mouth. All of these things, in the essence of where they actually, the best that we can understand about them are letters. So it's a very interesting idea, is that you want to understand what creation's all about, then you have to understand that creation is made out of letters. So that even we get to deeper and deeper places in trying to understand the Nukta Zan, what's going on and how it is that the Shef is going to come through to us, we'd have to understand that all of this is really to a great extent based on the Hebrew alphabet. So let's look at number 23 here. It will be down at the bottom of the page, and we'll go over to the light print, which is on page Yud Zayin, 17. He said, so now, these lights that we're talking about that come out of the ears, which those are the upper tamim. Every sphera has different qualities. So it has lights inside of kalim. We'll be talking about this, what the origin of this. But at this point, these lights that are streaming out of the ears, they have nothing to receive them. So they're tremendously high, and then they have no ability to really. They're so high that there's no way that you could see kalim associated with it. The kavishi is bar besmoch, like we're going to explain later on. So we had lights coming out of the right side and lights coming out of the left side. One kind was called mikipim or surrounding lights. Those are the brightest of the lights. The other type are called panimim, inside lights. So he says, there's actually a separation between them because they're on the sides of the head, so to speak, and separated one for the next. They don't strike each other. Now, this concept is really runs quite deep. If you want to understand how reproduction takes place, it is a concept of striking. So that if there's no striking and things remain separate, then there's no reproduction. And so as a result of the fact that they don't meet, that we don't see any aspect of a vessel there. There's nothing to hold this light. So now let's go up to the top of the page and let's read down the first paragraph, and then we'll come back to the light print and try to see it again. So one of the things that I like about the Tib so much is that it's not fancy. He hasn't got a lot of philosophy that he really wants to teach us, not extra philosophy. He really repeats in a different way what the Rav says. So the Rav is going to say like this: Gamda, ki eses spheros elu yatzem bekusharos betaklis hiskashros v'lo nikar bechem rak shakulam ein bebechinas ozeh. So he said the lights that come out, we don't know, we don't recognize them. He says, let me translate it properly, without just explaining. They go out tied together. Ultimately, betachlis is kashros, and ultimately completely tied together. But we don't recognize anything about them except that they come out to be looking, or they're in the formation of the letter Hey. So there's a backwards reference to it that if you take the A, you put it together with the letters Aleph, Zayin, and Nun, that they come out to be the number 63, and that becomes a backwards reference. In other words, you can't look at it straight on and see this, but you could see it as a result putting the Hey along with the Ozen, and you get the number 63, which is the name of Sag, with the gematria of Sag. But Sios Hey Zu Hiba Bechinas Eses Spheros Elo Shagnaklalim Behe. So this Hey actually has 10 spheros that are associated with it. As you remember, there could be a daled and a vav. V'shorsham heim hey partsufim. So the root of them, though, are 5 different systems. Arich anpin, and he names the names again. The Rav says the names again. What are the systems that are in everything? These systems are Rik anpin, Abba v'ima, v'zun. All of them. Zohar v'nuk. That's 5. So he said, "V'radayim lo nikar bechem bechinas eses spheros," but because of the way they are, even though that we see that there's a number 10 associated with a vav and a daled, or different kinds of ways of being able to see that it's a 10, but you can't see the 10. Raki yosem hey partsufim elo levad. The only thing you could see about it is that there's some number 5. This 5 refers to the systems, the 5 partsufim that make it up. But even the 5 partsufim, if it was possible for you to have a what would you call it, a celestial or a Zohar microscope, and you could actually look into this, you still wouldn't be able to see the 5 because they're all separated. You wouldn't see any separation. They would all be tied together. All you would be able to see was a Hey. Kitzir Hey hu os du, Dalet Vav. Umisparam Eser, and they count up to be 10. So this is all these different kinds of, this is a remez, a different Rabbi Mamazim, so that you see how this works. Lahoros, al hiyosem Eser nechlalam behei kenizka la'el. So as we had mentioned previously, that would show us that there are 10 inside the 5. That somehow you could see there's all kinds of hints to it. They're like, say, you're traveling on a road and you want to get close to the Eibishter. You want to be as close as you possibly can, and you run into this letter Hey. And as you get closer in your your inner spacecraft, and as you're getting closer to this, you start to be able to recognize a Hey. And then you could even see the parts of the Hey, which is a Dalet and a Vav. So you could start. That's what you can see from it. They are tied together, but that's it. So they're still only called by the name Oz Hey. Let's go down to the bottom of the page. I think we pick up here on page Yud Zayin. Light print only on number Kof Dalet. Vod Sark Sheteda Shehaor Atzmo. So it's also important that you should know that the light itself, Hagam Shuhu Kolo Me'eses Spheros, besides the fact that it has 10 spheros in it, Im Kol Zeh Ein Bo Gilui Le'eses Spheros Mechulakos, but you still can't see 10 spheros. Your spacecraft can't, the light is too bright. You can't get close enough to be able to see it. It's like driving to the sun. So he says, Ve'ela hu nira ka'or echad bilvad, but it looks like just one light, a light that looks like a hay. Kevan shaha'oros chalalu yatsu k'shehem gusharim, but since they come out tied together as one entity, umuchadim, and again, as oneness, below shum his chalkos below shaykh bechem tzura, and so there's no division between it. There's no different kinds of. There's no form to it. V'kol gilui sheyesh bechem, and whatever kind of revelation that you had of them, hu bezos shahem ketzuras hay. It's only that you could see that there's a hay. More than that, to get closer to this is impossible. But we know from a reference to the fact that the hay that we're looking at is really 2 letters, Dalet involved, which add up to 10, which is a secret behind these is a 10. Let's go to number Kaf Hay and light print only. He says, Hagam sheba oros ha'aznayim no nizgalam eser spheres nifrados. So whereas we see that we don't see 10 separate spheros here. Yehem yatsu mekusharim betachlis, they're ultimately completely tied together so that you only see this hay. Akavar nizbar la'el shohoya nikar bechem bechinas os hay, but we have already said what you can see is the letter hay. Betzias os hay shemispara chamesh, which is number 5. V'ramez chamisha partzufim shechem arik anpin abba ve'ima za and the nuk the za, or the nuk. These are the words, these are the language that the Rav wants us to learn. But we can see there's a 5 there. So we can understand that hay is a 5. And so this becomes a remez to something that we can see behind it. How do you know there's a remez? Because the Rav's telling you that. That's how you know. The Rav's able to see that as he's telling us all the things you're going to see, that the Rav's able to see this in what we consider to be a very short amount of time. So she'elu ha-partzufim kololim eser spheros, that these partzufim have within them 10 spheros. Arich hu keser, he's a keser. V'aba v'ima heim chochma bina. V'za heim chagat nai, which is chesed gevura teferes netzachod yisod. We're going to see that phrase over and over again. It's also known as the vak. But we're going to work it. And we're going to work it in such a way, the Rav is going to work it so that it's going to become a part of you. The nuk hi ha-malchus, and the nuk is also called malchus. So you have 10 spheros there. Ak bechinas ha'eses spheros bepratos, but if you want to see them specifically, adayim non desgalze ba'oras ha'gobokim shala ozim. But the lights are so high. And again, I don't know if bright is the right word for it. I think it's more like, anti-bright. In other words, you can't get close to it because as you start getting close to it, you start losing your vision and your ability to be able to see it because it's nothing. And you're trying to be something and bring some of that light back to yourself, and it's a very difficult. You get close enough to nothing, you become nothing yourself. It's a difficult idea for me. Let's go to number Kaf Vav. Kaf Vav says light print. He says ha-oz hey sheyatzim in ha'ozin. So this letter hey that comes out of the ozin of this being, which is called Ak, which maybe we could use a metaphor for people, but it's not a person, it's nothing physical, it's only a conglomeration of a clothing of the light of the infinite. Hagam shenechlala bo kol chamisha partzufim, and now whereas we see that it has 5 partzufim because we have a hay, im kol zos elo partzufim lo yatze bechamesh oras mechulakim, but they're not 5 separate lights. All you see is the hay. Now, why does he keep saying this? Why does he keep saying that they're not separate? It's because we're in a world that is very, very close to a total yichud, all oneness. And in order for us to be existing in a world, this superficial world that we live on the outside where everything is separated, you have to have the beginnings of separation, and that's what this is talking about. El yatsa or echad belvad, there's only one light, shuhu os hay, which is the light of this hay. Achas wehe achas, one hay, shebal kolulim kol chamisha oros, and which is all the 5 lights are inside of it. That's all you see though is this hay. Amnam os hay he oluk mini chamesh. So if you want, you think like this. The Rav is telling us that it's also a 5, right? Umaromezes al chamisha partsufim nizkarim, and it becomes a reference to those 5 partsufim that we want to talk about, in which there is contained these 10 spheros. So therefore the 2 letters which are hey, shehem ha'or hamakif, which is coming out of the right ear, v'ha'or ha'benimi hayotzim in the chaznaim, these are the 2 hays that are coming out of the ears. Ramaz and the chamisha partsufim, they together represent, they're both hays. It's not to say that this is a different kind of hay than that kind of hay, not right now anyway. But they don't come out separately, but they're all of that is tied together in a hay on the right side, a hay on the left side. I'm not sure what he means that they're not mechulakim. Let's see the canal. Let's see what he means. That you have 2 hays. Here they add up to 10. Because we say again that the os hey is divided into 2 different portions. Achitzoni hu os daled, the outside one is the letter daled. V'hachelek hapenimi is the os vav kazeh. So it's los vav. I think I'm in the right place. Yes, I am. Kazeh. So this is what it looks like on page Yud Zayin. V'osios daled and vav olam yachta the misper eser. So they come out to be 10, and so that's what he's been saying all along. But often shekol ha'eser spheres neklalim ba'os hey. So that's a way to tell us that the eser spheres are all inside of this letter hey. They're hidden there. They're not revealed yet. Hey mitzad suras ha'os atzma. That is, you could see it by the letter, by looking at the letter itself, because the letter itself is divided into a daled and a vav, which means 10. Shehi ola eser. Also you can see that the letter hey itself refers to 5 partsufim. Those 5 partsufim can break down into 10 spheros also. So now we're on number Kaf Zayin, and we're reading up above, and we're approaching the end of this beginning of this Shar Tanta. Now to me it seems like this is fairly simple and straightforward. If you never heard it before, maybe it's not so straightforward. So let's see how it goes. Let's read the top part. Velo esses spheres bou or panimi meruchak mehamakif. So now we have a light, which we said that came out of the left ear, and this is called a light of panemius, and its distance from the light of the right ear, which is called the makif. Shelo herchak gadol. There's a great distance between them. The reason why is because if they were closer to each other, it wouldn't be possible to be able to manage this at all. Now, I don't know what he means by that. I don't know, maybe we would not be able, it would be too much light. I think that's what he means. Let's see. The Hiyoski bo or panimi or makif, that when the 2 of them come, rechokim zem zeh herchek gadol. So since they're on different sides of the face of Ak, and there is a big distance between them. Elu yatzim ma'ozen smallis ve'elu ma'ozen yomanes. One came to the left ear, one came to the right ear. That refers to panimius and makif. And then he wants to tell us what they mean. You couldn't handle it, he said, that if it was more than that, the tachtonim would not be able to handle the lights at all. They would be too great light. Remember I said that this is a light of the infinite. So it's a light that has the quality of breaking down physicality. So that's not what we want. With the opposite, creation is the pattern of the formation of physical things. Of umezen nimshach inyan acher. So from this fact comes another inyan. V'huki inyan havayos hakelim hu al yedei hakos betisha shnei oros elu makiv upanimi yachad zeh bezeh. So he says it again. He says that now we understand that in order to have kalim, you understand this in a backwards way. So since these 2 lights are so great, the Eibishter has made it so that they don't come together. So they don't come together, so they remain independent. What do we learn from that? That if they did come together, they would make a kli. They would bang against each other because they're not the same kind of light. They're resistant to each other. But that resistance, which we're going to see in detail, I don't think it's in the next chapter. I really haven't looked at it ahead of time. But I think it's in Shara Kudim. We're going to start really getting into different kinds of breakdowns of what the beginning of making the formation of a Kli looks like. So we see this in a backwards kind of way. So that since they don't strike each other, then we understand that if they did, it would make a Kli. And that Kli would not be able to bear the light. So we keep the light, we keep it away, we don't make a Kli here at this point. So Ela Makiv Benimi Yachad Zebazeh, Umakim Shnei Mibein Shnehem, and between the two of them, Nola Tavayas Akalim, when they strike each other, it creates the reality of vessels, things that is something more physical that can hold something more spiritual. Lefisha Khan, Bol Mirochokin Kanizkar, so since here that they're coming at a distance, Lo old Elisha, the fila besim his pashtus, and not only that, but as they finally end up, and they're coming down the sides of the face, so to speak, Bishivulas Zakan, and they're reaching down to this area, he says, Lo nischavro Yaakov legamri keniska le'el, they never do come together. They never do completely come together. So these lights then just glow, whatever kind of light they are, and they exist without kalim to hold their light. We're going to get into that more in Sharakudim, Perik Aleph, he says. That's going to be the topic for coming up down the road. Now, let's go to number Kaf Zion in the light print. And we're saying here, Ha'eser Spheris and Iskaro. So now we've said that the Hay is a representative one way or another of 10 Spheros. So these 10 Spheros, Shehem Eser Oros, Mekifim, Yotzim, and Ozin, Yamin. So what are they exactly? They're 10 lights of Mekifim that we're postulating words now. So we're having words called Oros Mekifim and Oros Panimim, but you're going to use these words a lot. So get used to it. So these lights that represent these things, Vasara Oros Panimim, Yotzim, Ozin small, and then the other 10 that are coming out of the Panimi, that are Panimi, are coming out of the left ear. Lo hoya Yotzim or Panimi or Makiv Shalachem Kashachem Krovim Zalazad. They don't come out, as you see in my face. That my face and my ears are on each side of my head, so they're not kroving. And the Rab said this too. He's really repeating the Rab. But when they come out, they're distanced from each other. The reason why they come out, distance one from the other, because the Kli is created, that when the Oros of the Makibim and the Panimim, Miskarbim, they start to draw magnetically close to each other, and then they strike each other. We're going to be talking about this. Now let's say that the lights of the ears are tremendously pure. There's almost nothing to them at all. And they're so powerfully pure this way. It's impossible to really approach them. You can only really get near them if there are lights in kalim. So you'll let's say, well, what's the big deal about kalim? What do you need kalim for? Because kalim hold back the light. That's the hismat. This is kind of like a tzimtzum. So that when you make a kli, then it's possible that it has lights in it. And those lights can radiate out, but they have to go through the kli, which is a filter. And that changes the nature of the light. It minimizes it. Because what you're looking for is the opposite of what we normally think in this world. We think about the sun, and the more sun you have, then the more light. And it's more physical, and it grows things, and it does. This light is the opposite kind of light. This is the light, the actual light of creation, which is a light, which is a negative light. And what you want to be able to do in order to make it grow things and make the world grow, you have to limit that light so that something stronger or something, wrong word, something more physical would come out of it. So he said, you can't reach them unless you have lights inside of kalim. So he said, so in order to avoid this, they don't come near to each other, because if they did, their nature is positive and negative, or let's say something similar to that. They have a magnetic attraction, and if they did come to close, they would strike each other. V'yotzia kalim, and the result of that, as we will see in Sharakudim, they will make kalim. Let's go to Kof Ches in the light print. Inyan Havayas v'Holedes HaKelim, so the Inyan of the Havayas, of the Inyan Havayas of the Holedes HaKelim, so the in when we talk about the reality or the existence of and the creation of Kelim, Na'asis Ayedei Anitzutzos, they come from where? They come from the sparks, Hayotzim Be'Peulas HaHakav v'Chabatisha Shalor Hamaki v'Chabanimi Zebezeh. Now he added something else. He says that when these two forces hit each other, they produce sparks. And the sparks, as we're going to see again, as I said before, in Sharakudim, that's the Shar after this one, it's going to bring us a lot more detail and more language. So we're going to see that they produce sparks. These sparks are the basis of the Kelim. So between the two of them, the sparks that generate become a third element. And that third element is a Kli. So number Kaf Tes, as we're coming around the mountain here, we're coming down to the end of the line on this parak. Another repetition, same idea. So he says the Kelim are made out of the striking of the two lights, the Makif and the Benimi, against each other. But when we talk about the lights of the ears, but that's so therefore the Eibishter set it up again, another repetition, so that these lights will be distanced from each other. Because one, the Makif comes out of the right side of the face, the small upon him, so the light, the Panimi light comes out to the left. And even though that they're joined together, and they come right down like this, and even though they come really, really close, I have a dimple in my chin right here. Can't see it. But they don't actually come together at this place. They never strike each other. No sparks, right? You ever hear about sparks and love affairs and a man looking for a woman, and there's sparks? Well, here they are. So, therefore, a Kli never develops in the area that has to do with the Aznaim. And we're not done talking about this, so we'll talk about it some more. So he said, V'hine, ad kan bia harav, as bechinas tamim hal yonim. So now the Rav has talked about the tamim hal yonim. So that is what comes out of the ears. This is also another name for it. It's called Av the Sag. And let's see. In the drawing that I sent a picture of, you could see it in the second level, right? Because the first level, these are cylinders, and the cylinders are meant to lapse each other. So they all go through, we're all the way through down to the bottom. So the top one is the Av da Av. So that one has nothing relating to it because it's, and this is very important, it's not clothed. Clothing, as we're going to see, is a concept of transference. So if it's unclothed, that means it's by itself. It doesn't relate to what's down below it. It's clothed by the inyan of Sag. So you have the Sag da Av, and then you have the Av da Sag, and we'll go through this drawing a little bit more, but you see that the Sag da Av is in the middle. It's down in the next level down, and then you go down to the levels down below that. They're going to be the levels of Ma'am Ben. But anyway, we'll go through that. So he said, Vahine ad kan bir harav as bechinas hatamim al yonim shehem achelak ha'elyon shebechinas Av da Sag. Hayotze me'ozen ak, because they come out of the ear of Ak, beperik da lahalon, and as we go forward into another perik, yisboyer bechinas hatamim ha'emseim da Sag. So they're going to be middle level of tamim that are going to come from Sag too. Shehem achelak emsoy shebechinas Av da Sag, which is the middle level of the Av da Sag, Shehema Oros Yotzim Echotem da Ak, which are the lights that are going to come out of the nose of Ak. And Ad Kan for today, that's a lot. Thank you.